Welcome to this week's edition of the Optimum Synergy Podcast with our friend and your host, Adam Huber. Join Adam as he takes you on a journey into the realm of detailing, business, and beyond. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Sit back and enjoy the ride.
Good morning, everyone in Facebook world. So, this is actually going to be a podcast before the podcast, and I'm going to be recording something on Facebook Live. So I'm on Facebook Live right now for anybody who is listening to the podcast. And this is going to be a short one. It's not going to be an hour long. Not going to be interviewing anyone. But I wanted to talk about something that I posted on my personal Facebook page and the detailing groups last night, about something that I came across on one of my local entrepreneur pages, and I thought it was really, really interesting. Morning, Troy. How are you? So it's something that gets talked a lot about on the detailing groups and forums and everything like that. And it always seems like it never ends up being a great resolution to what is being talked about, and in no way, shape, or form is this podcast going to be offering a solution at all. Because I think the problem for what I'm talking about is insecurity, and people are just naturally insecure. So what am I talking about? Well, let me just read to you the screenshots that I took yesterday. A lot of people ask me, and so bear in mind, this is Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and this is a local brewery that I don't know how long they've been around, but for a little while, they're one of the more successful microbreweries in town. So this guy put a post out asking for other people's opinion. Man, thanks everyone for joining in. Vic Eubank, Jeremy Casper, Jessica Ronning. Hey, I haven't seen your name in a while. A lot of people ask me what my thoughts are on various local breweries enter the market. I'm not sure they often expect what comes out of my mouth. I'm genuinely happy for them, as only those who've been through the trenches truly know what it takes and sacrifices must be made. Personally, I've got a lot to thank for those who came to Sioux Falls before Remedy. The brewing community is very tight-knit. I'd like to hear if any other industries in the area welcome new competition as the public sees it so openly, or if similar philosophies permeate your business mindset. This is a great post. This is a great thing to talk about. Hold on one second. I'm going to adjust this. There, that's a little bit better. Man, my face isn't all blown out. Chris Heinz. Now, you want to talk about a guy who has a successful business. He's one of the best DJs probably in the region. Has a very successful DJing business. Okay, so now bear in mind, on this page, this is full of people who own local businesses. So, and there's tons of local competition as far as like insurance agents. I mean, realtors, holy buckets. We got half the freaking population in Sioux Falls is freaking realtors, I swear. But everyone replied back, no, I love talking to local competition. I love meeting with people who are like-minded, who go through the same struggles I do, and trying to overcome that. There is a comment that I thought was particularly interesting, and I had to screenshot it and share it because this is a sentiment that I think us as detailers, we really need to think about how we can work with other people in our area to try and overcome it. The comment is, that's because your competition isn't each other. It's getting people to go to the breweries versus traditional bars. The more healthy one of you is, the more healthy you all are. What a phenomenal mindset, guys. What a huge mind shift. For all of you guys that are watching right now, you're all in different industries. A lot of you are detailers. But is your actual competition each other? Or is your competition the other services that are offered that are outside of yours? For example, let's just take one example that really likes to get talked a lot about in the detailing industry is burgers. Is McDonald's in competition with the local steakhouse that also happens to make burgers? Not really. I mean, obviously one is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and the other one's just a local steakhouse that makes burgers. And so now if there's another steakhouse that opens up and offers great tasting burgers, are they really in competition with each other, or are they just trying to make the public realize that you can actually get a better burger for more than $1? Which would you rather have, $1 hamburger or, let's just say a $12 or $15 hamburger? Which is the better experience? In detailing, I think we need to look at this and look at because as detailers, if you're right around the same price point, if your businesses are similar, can you guys get together and overcome obstacles that each one is going through, which makes both of you stronger at the same time, which actually means that you raise the market value of your entire business, and you just create this great atmosphere in your local market. I'm trying to think of a good example that I could think of, and I'm struggling for one. But as a detailer, your competition is not the other detailers at all. It's I see this every single day in the Facebook groups. Every single day, there's one of you guys, or you see someone complaining about the $20 wash guy down the street. He's not your competition. Get it out of your head that's your competition. You guys aren't even in the same, it's not even the same business model at all. That's like the steakhouse being mad that McDonald's is opening up. It doesn't make any sense. You're mad at someone who is appealing to a completely different customer and is charging a completely different rate, has a completely different business model, which, by the way, I don't know when the last time you guys as detailers have looked at car washes. Most car washes make way more money than you guys do as detailers. Way more money. They don't look at you as competition. And they don't look at each other as competition. They just don't. Other businesses, insurance agents, whatever, get with each other to figure out what the most common problems that their customers are facing and to overcome it. Or how are you attracting your customers? If going back to the insecurities thing, if there's competition that opens up and your first reaction is to get angry and say that they do crap work and all these other things, is it because you're not confident in your skills in order to overcome them? Is that what's actually going on? Are you mad that because they posted a special for a full exterior and interior for $100, that's going to take away all of your business because you possibly don't know how to attract those customers? You're worried that once you lose those customers, that you are the only fish in town, and now that there's another fish in town, supposedly that's in the same realm as you, that you're worried that you can't compete with them? Is that what's actually going on? Whereas if you guys got together and said, there's a lot of people that come into the detailing industry, and everyone knows this, that's in the groups. I mean, we've all seen it, that people come into this industry and don't understand that they can charge a couple $100s for something. Let's just take a real quick, Chris, I'm kind of ignorant to this whole thing. You tell me if I'm totally wrong. Good to see you, Henry. Thanks for watching, man. Appreciate it. Chris, you tell me if I'm totally wrong, but let's look at the DJ situation, right? If we break down what a DJ does in the simplest terms, and I realize there's a whole lot of nuances into this industry, and I'm not going to sit here and try and act like, you should just get an iPod shuffle and then you're a DJ. But if we look at the DJ industry, like you're just a guy that plays music. And you just happen to be able to like read the crowd and figure out when one song should be able to play, what the average age of the crowd is. Then you pick different songs. My dad DJ'd for a little while. So I'm willing to bet that there's people that have gotten into the DJ industry, and Chris is charging a couple thousands of dollars for an experience, a DJ experience. And then there's people that come into the industry that only charge, I don't know, $500, $700, whatever it might be. And those people that are entering into that industry probably just don't understand that there are things that they can do to level up the experience of the whole DJing part and be able to charge more money. Now, if Chris reaches out to that person, says, hey, let's have a coffee, let's sit down and talk, and that person is receptive and open, Chris starts to show him, hey, when you're doing like this set, like this song, if you do these kinds of things, all of a sudden, like people really start to like your set and your service a lot more. You're upping the experience, which means you can charge more money. Anytime that you take an experience and then you level it up, you can charge more money. It's the same exact way with detailing. Are you showing up where you haven't shaved? And funnily enough, like if you look here, nicked myself frickin' twice today shaving. Amateur hour. But anyways, if you take your detailing and increase the experience, at some point there's some people that just are not going to care what you're actually charging. If you show up, you're clean shaven, you are well dressed, you're wearing a button down shirt, some slacks, whatever fits you. Your shop is clean, your office is clean, the layout of the office is clean. You make it a really great experience for that person. When they show up, you can just charge more money. The people are going to tell you, you really need to charge more money because this was a fantastic experience. That's what people are going to say. Now, let's take the reverse of that. Let's take the mobile detailer. And actually, I swear to God, you guys can look all the way back in my business on my business page, which is, it's now HD detailing, but or you can go back on my personal profile. I don't care. Go way, way back. The vehicle that I was using to show up for mobile details was a 97 green F-150 that was almost totally just rusted out. There was rust holes everywhere. It was shiny. But the tailgate didn't quite go down all the way. It kind of got hung up. The equipment I was using wasn't, people don't care about the equipment that you're using, but it didn't look nice. It didn't look professional. Now, if I show up and I haven't been shaven, I've got holes in my shirt, I'm wearing, I don't know, Jankos or whatever, got tattoos on my face and everything like that. Nothing against guys who have tattoos. I've got tattoos too. But there's just a certain level that when you show up, people are not going to be comfortable with paying the same amount of money for the person who's well-dressed and everything like that. It's all about the experience. You show up in a nicer vehicle, all of a sudden now you can just start charging a little bit more money. And this just keeps going from industry to industry to industry. If you have, everyone's kind of got that hole-in-the-wall restaurant in their town that it's really, really shady, but they make phenomenal food. There's a couple of Mexican restaurants here in Sioux Falls that not really sure if you want to hang out in the neighborhood for very long, but the food is just absolutely amazing. Yeah, Jankos. I know that's throwback reference, late 90s, but whatever. That's what I thought of. Donnie Anderson can show up however he wants to and charge whatever money he wants, and he's going to be able to get it. But anyways, if that hole-in-the-wall restaurant is charging the same, let's say $30 a plate for Mexican food, but the place looks like it hasn't actually been inspected by the food inspector, the health inspector in 10 years, people aren't going to want to pay that. They just aren't. The experience doesn't match the dollar amount, right? It just doesn't. So anyways, I would really implore you guys to reach out to the local detailers and local competition and try to figure out what they're doing better than you, because they are going to be doing something better than you. And then you learn from them, and then you can make yourself better. And then you're a better business. You're a better business just because of that. It's uncomfortable. And the first couple of meetings are not probably going to go that great. You guys aren't going to be best of buds right away. That's not what's going to happen. But if you keep at it, it's going to pay off in the long run. Because if you come over to their shop, yours is nice and clean and swept up and mopped and gets vacuumed every week and everything like that, and then you go over to theirs and there's oil on the walls for some reason, there's compound and wool all over the floor, the place hasn't been swept in 3 months, you just give them a little bit of crap and you say, hey man, if you would use a broom, you might be able to charge like $50 more. And it's not all about the money. It's also because you guys get to learn from each other. Because again, maybe they are going to be doing something better than you. Not only that, but you guys should have a little bit of a kinship because you guys have been through the same exact struggles. We all deal with the crazy, insane customer who has an all-white interior van with 4 kids and then hasn't had it detailed in 4 years and then is like, well, I don't understand why all the stains won't come out. I don't know, man. Do you have all white carpet and furniture at your house? No? Because that would be insane. Okay, your vehicle's the same way. Anyways, on with that. Now, another point that I'm just going to hit on really quick, probably everyone's going to eye roll and everything like that. Having multiple installers in the same city of the same brand. I know everyone's probably, the click-off rate, the shutdown rate on the video just like spiked. Like 10 people just jumped off. Just listen. If you're all offering the same product and you're all relatively the same price point, we've seen this in actually 3 or 4 different areas already. There's, I believe, Toronto. We have something like 13 installers just in Toronto. Toronto's a big city, but like it's not, I don't know, it's not New York. It's not Los Angeles. And there's 13 Opti-Coat installers in that area. In San Diego, I went down there, did a training, and certified 4 or 5 people. I apologize for anybody that's watching that, you went to the San Diego training. I don't remember exactly how many people there was. 4 or 5. So now just in the San Diego area alone, there's, I believe, 5 or 6 installers, and 4 of them or 5 of them are all certified. They're not in competition with each other. Is San Diego a bigger city? Yes, it is a bigger city. Don't use that as an excuse. In Sioux Falls, I actually just am going to be authorizing a second Opti-Coat installer. In Rapid City, I just authorized one here the other day. That makes 3 Opti-Coat installers in the state of South Dakota alone. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's an entire state. The entire population of South Dakota doesn't even equal San Diego. Look it up. It's like 850,000 is in South Dakota. And you guys are worried about having too many installers in San Diego or in Houston, Texas, or Dallas, or insert any bigger city here. Now, where it does become an issue is if one is charging significantly less money than the other one. I will agree with you. That can be a bit of a problem. But take it upon yourselves, if you're meeting for coffee once a month or something like that, to talk with them and say, hey man, listen, you don't need to be cheap Charlie. Like, you could charge this amount of money because, we're getting it. Why can't you? Oh, because you're not confident in your skills? Cool. Let's go polish some panels and then I can maybe show you some tips and tricks. Oh, you don't have a shop? Okay, fair enough. But are you working towards a better vehicle? Like, you guys can work together to up the entire ceramic coating game. And again, ceramic coatings, the kind of market that you guys are going after, is incredibly small compared to what most of the people are going to go towards, which is car washes and everything like that. What if you guys were to get together and explain the differences? You are all putting out the same exact content, which is, here's the reason why a detail is different than a car wash. What if all of a sudden you guys just converted 250, 500 people, 1,000 people over from, oh, okay, like now I get it. Like a detail is different than a car wash. I just thought these guys were just over glorified car washers and they were just charging way too much money. Custom home builders, they're going to run into the same exact issue. Why in the world would I pay you $10 more per square foot as a custom home builder than if I just go to the guy who has a 87 F-150 with a bucket of nails in the back end and some bent as crap 2x4s, and he can build my house. He's doing it for $10 a square foot cheaper. Well, it's not the same. That guy might be good at building trailer houses, but he's not building $750,000 mansions. There's a reason. You guys be the $750,000 mansion people. Be those people. Be the service that is high end, that people say, okay, there's a great question. Eric Weiser. What is the difference between what you were saying and price fixing? Collusion. I don't know what the definition of collusion is and everything like that. I'm not talking about collusion, but all the gas stations in town charge the same amount of money. All the services that you come across in the same town charge right around the same amount of money. You as an online retailer, you're charging right around the same amount of money for the same exact products. And that's not collusion. So all the home builders, they're relatively in the same price range. So that's not collusion either. I don't know what the exact definition of collusion would be. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just simply talking about like minds coming together and saying, listen, you don't need to charge that cheap of a rate. It can be the difference of a couple $100, but they don't get together and talk about it. Okay, if they're not driving by and saying, ooh, look at that, they're down to $2.50. Maybe I should be down to $2.50 because everyone's going to go to that gas station. That's not what we're talking about. Totally different subject. But Mac had a good point. Memphis and the surrounding area has 6 dealers alone. Memphis isn't, I think the population of Memphis is, around 1 million, something like that. And there's 6 dealers just in Memphis. So, guys, just get together, get to know the people who are offering the same exact services you are, and try to up their game, because then the level of your guys' market and your guys' businesses will all be about the same. And not only that, but I think we've seen time and time again throughout all of history that competition makes other businesses better. Anytime there is just a sole offering in the market, it isn't as good as it could be. There's something that comes along that forces that change, that makes it better. And if there's someone that comes along and ends up doing something slightly better than you, then it's going to force you to do something else much, much better and offer a better service. And that's a win for all of your customers. That's a win for you because it challenges you as a person to innovate and become better. Thanks, Matt. Michael, do you post these on YouTube? Not yet. I don't know. Maybe I will. Well, I do post the podcast on YouTube, but that's just the audio version because we ended up finding out. Just maybe you guys are curious as to why in the world I post just an audio on YouTube. I can upload the video too, but really, do you guys, who is going to sit? We'll try it out. We'll upload the video and audio portion of this to YouTube. But we found that most of our customers actually visit our website and our content just on desktop. So now if you're on desktop, it's actually really easy to just open up another tab and have YouTube playing in the background when it's just an audio version, and you can listen to the podcast that way. And not only that, but the podcast version on YouTube takes up a pretty good percentage of the total downloads of the whole of the podcast. So it's actually played pretty well. All right. Well, let's see. I put in a poll here. I don't know if you guys actually saw it. If you guys even decided to do the poll. I can't see it, so I'll have to see if it's in here later on. But anyways, why don't we just take this time if you guys have any questions about what I just talked about, or have any questions about anything in general, I'll leave it up for another couple of minutes just to see what might come up. Like I said, this is going to be the podcast. It's going to get uploaded tonight, so it'll be available tomorrow morning. If you guys want to see the photos that I'm talking about, Donnie's got a good question here. But anyways, if you guys want to see the pictures that I'm talking about, I actually have them on my personal profile. They're also in the other detailing groups. Donnie says, it used to be back a few years ago, the most authorized coating installers were promised certain areas with no competition. That's why it's kind of hard to get on board with the new change of multiple installers. And I'll say the only thing I've ever worried about is what they are charging. You are very right on all of this. I know I'll still have my customer base, but I want them feeling like they're getting ripped off if they hear of a new installer. That's a good point. Donnie, that's a good point. So, I mean, I'm sure all of it, well, not all of us, but there's been several of us that have gone through this, where there's someone new that comes to town, they start offering coatings, and it's a significant price difference. Like, gosh, I don't know, $500-$600. Let's just say $500-$600 price difference, which for you guys, sir, for some of you people watching, you might not know what the average price of a coating goes for. Let's just say that it's in and around in the top tier range. We're talking about in and around $1,500. Would you guys say that's fair? $1,500? Like, it can go above that, it can go below that. We got Nick Chapman, who charges like $5,000 per coating job. The guy's just freaking killing it. Nick, good on you, man. You have upped all of our reflection game shots. That's a perfect example. Nick Chapman challenged all of us to do better reflection shots. The guy knows what he's doing. Okay. So there's someone that comes into Donnie's area charging significantly less, $500-$600. Now all of a sudden you have customers saying, well, why would I go with you when I can go with this other person that's $500-$600 less? It's a great point. Experience is number one. Your experience level as a detailer is going to already right there level you up above someone else. And if someone doesn't, that coating room he has is sick. Hey, I'm jealous of Nick Chapman. Like, for real. Like, that guy, crazy setup. Much love, man. Anyways, experience level. You tell them, because it's actually kind of interesting that most customers understand the complexities and the dangers of a polisher. Like, if you've ever put a polisher in a regular customer's hand and said, here's a polisher, I want you to polish your paint, the very first thing that happens is they are just sick with worry. They've heard stories about burning paint, of not finishing down paint well. I mean, they've heard it all, right? Even though they're not in the industry, they know that these things happen. So that's going to be something that they say, well, Donnie's been doing this. Donnie, I don't know how long you've been doing it, man. I'm going to say easily 10 plus years. Donnie's been doing this for 10 plus years. I think he knows what he's doing when it comes to polishing. This kid, he's been on the scene for all of, I don't know, a year or two. Should people give them a fair shake? Yes, they should. But number two, and this goes right back to what I was talking about prior, experience. The experience that the experience of the service, sorry, not your experience level as a detailer, but the experience of people booking with Donnie. When he answers the phone, if he even, not that he doesn't answer the phone, but I mean, like, these people have called 3 or 4 other cheaper detailers. They don't answer the phone. They never respond to messages, so on and so forth. Donnie answers the phone, says, hey, this is XYZ Business, Donnie Anderson. How are you doing today? And talks to them, and then walks them through about what services that he offers, what he recommends for their particular price point and what they're wanting. And when he shows up, he's got a really nice van. He's got nice clothes on. He's not wearing Jankos. And he has a nice payment system. Like, he has follow-up and everything like that. Like, the experience matches the dollar amount. You're always going to lose some people to the cheaper person. And honestly, that's okay. we've also always, all of us have experienced, there's several people in here that own businesses. All of us have experienced that cheapy customer that they paid for your service, but like they really actually didn't want to pay for it in the first place, and then just nitpick it to death. Did you actually want that person anyways? Like, some people don't want to pay for a $5,000 DJ service. Chris don't care. Well, I mean, maybe he does a little bit, but like, hey, fine, go with this $500 one. Like, I get it. Like, if I force you to pay $5,000 for a service, I probably don't want you anyways. Like, it's sad to say, but not every customer is your customer. People, remember that. Not every customer is your customer. Kevin Song, you don't want the person who focuses solely on price. Couldn't agree more. You just don't. You want the person, there's just certain people, especially well-off people. A lot of us want to target wealthier clients because we feel like they won't give us a lot of gruff, right? Not necessarily true. Sometimes the wealthier someone is, the more conscious they are of the money that they're spending on things that they're not sure about. This is just what I've noticed from my own personal experience. But if you're the person that delivers an insane experience, those wealthy people, they can't throw the card or the cash on the table fast enough. It's no object to them. Oh, I bought a new car, but you just coated my other one 6 months ago, but I want to get with this one coated again. I have a couple of customers that still do that now. They go through a couple of different vehicles a couple of times a year. They want each and every single one of them coated because the experience was there. So there was someone up here that made a good point. Austin Kennedy. The key is to specialize and value your time more. You might struggle for a while, but eventually you'll be a niche business everyone hates on. Just check me out on IG. I have less followers than car washers, but the content and service is worlds beyond. My IG is Swirl Killer. Check him out on IG. I'm going to go follow him. Follow him right now. Also, FineLab is one of the few brands who won't oversaturate their tier 1 installers. They might allow multiples of their tier 2 installers. That's an interesting... I didn't know that they had a tier system. That's interesting. That's all off to... I don't know, maybe I'll contact FineLab and just be like, hey, how you guys doing today? It's Adam from Opti-Coat. I hear you have a tier system. I'm really interested in learning about that. Right there. I know you guys probably don't believe this, but us as Opti-Coat, as Optimum, we do talk with other manufacturers. Like, we can learn from other people. We're not the only ones that make products in, I don't know. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's like McGuire's out there who's way bigger than we are, and we can still learn things from other people. Yeah, check out his IG, Swirl Killer. Thanks for tuning in and listening, Austin. Appreciate it. Billy Rizzo says, from what I've learned over the years, selling coatings of any kind of job, it's more of how you can sell. You have to show confidence and believe in what you do and add value to it. I'm not the most expensive guy in town doing coatings, but I'm not the cheapest. I believe I charge a fair amount. In the end, I'm happy with it. Great point. Here's an interesting little tidbit, Billy. Something I would like to ask from you. Are you looking at the people that charge more than you do and looking at what you can adopt yourself to be able to charge more money down the road? Is it they have a nicer shop, a better location, they're more efficient, so they're getting cars through faster? Like, all of those things, are you thinking to yourself, what is it that they're doing better than me, and can I implement that in my business? Right there, boom. We've already just covered what I was just talking about earlier in this show. If Billy doesn't look at them as competition, instead reaches out and says, hey, you guys are doing something better than I am, I would really love to know how you figured this out, just because I feel like this is really smart. Austin comments back, those are my customers for sure, but I have shown them the value over time, and now they pay and they sell their friends on my services at my prices. I don't remember what I said to say they are the cheapest ones. Sorry, Austin. Nicer shop, but crappier location. Okay. I mean, all I'm saying is that there might be something that they're doing that's better than what you're doing, and to just maybe try and possibly learn from. That's all I'm going to say. Or if you feel like your experience, your whole service experience matches theirs, charge more money. Why not? Every time I've ever charged more money, like just increase the bottom line, every single time it's always paid off. Some people are afraid to charge more money because they're afraid it's going to drive away their customers. And to a point, it does. You're going to maybe lose like your bottom 10%, the ones that you didn't actually kind of want in the first place, which we've kind of already talked about. Again, if you missed that point, listen to the podcast. It'll be uploaded tomorrow, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, so on and so forth. And by the way, just real quick, since I'm on the topic of the podcast, and I have to go here in just a couple of minutes because I have a meeting. But I really appreciate you guys tuning into this. Maybe I should do more live videos. I figured at freaking 9:30 nobody would be tuning in, but I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching this. On the podcast, I put out a podcast episode a little while ago called Thank You, which was basically saying thank you guys for paying the fee and sharing the podcast and helping me grow the podcast. And seriously, I honestly mean it. Thank you. Like, you guys really actually have been doing it. Like, if you don't know what the fee is taking content like this video. If after this video you think that this was well worthwhile, that other people need to see it, share the video to someone and say, hey man, like, I think you need to watch this. Like, I think this could really help you out. We all know people that could use some of these things that I say. Not everything I say is relevant or people care about, whatever. That's fine. But I do know that there are episodes in the podcast and things that I've talked about on Facebook Live that do bring value, that can help people. And if you guys think that it has helped you in any way, share the content, please. And what's funny is I put out that podcast episode saying thank you, that we literally doubled the downloads of the podcast in just the span of a couple of months, which we did. I'm not lying. I'm not going to post the numbers, but we did double down the downloads. In fact, I don't know how reputable the source is, but I checked one. There's a service out there that will rank your podcast. In the category that we were in, we almost broke. Oh, Nick, are you serious? I would love to do a podcast with you. That would be insane. I am private messaging you right after this. But anyways, in the category that we were in, we almost broke the top 1,000. Now, you guys might be thinking, top 1,000? Is that really that impressive? Go ahead and check how many podcasts are out there right now. It's an insane amount of podcasts. There's like millions of different... I shouldn't say millions. There's hundreds of thousands of different podcasts and shows out there. And to break the top 1,000 of the... I think we're in the business category, if I remember correctly, which is one of the more not oversaturated, but one of the most popular categories in Apple Podcasts, and we almost broke the 1,000 mark. I'll take that. That's awesome. I mean, and again, it's thanks to you guys for sharing the podcast, sharing the live videos, and sharing them. Donnie, I appreciate it. Really appreciate that. Nick, seriously, you don't know how awesome it would be to have you on the podcast. I'm hitting you up for sure. But what was funny is almost broke the top 1,000. And then I had like 5 or 6 people lined up to interview for the podcast. All of them fell out all at the same time. Had nothing to talk about I didn't upload a podcast for 2 weeks. Sorry, guys. But what I would like to do, if you guys tell me, comment after this live video or, whatever, put it in the comments. I think I'd like to do more book reviews. I read a fair amount of books. I haven't completed one in a little while, but I try to read fairly often, whether that be watching YouTube videos, podcasts, whatever. But there's a lot of books that I've read in the last year that I could do book reviews on and break down the basics of it, which I think would help a lot of you guys a lot. I think the information that's contained in the books that I read, which is mostly selling and business oriented and for sure marketing, I hit marketing books hard because I want to learn more about it because I love marketing. It is It is my lifeblood. Love it. Nick, I'm hitting you after this. Adam Cote, are you serious? We have all the heavy hitters on here? Pfft, man, I am blessed. Austin, I'm going to read off this last point. Now I'm going to go. Thank you guys. Seriously, thank you so much for watching this live broadcast. I really appreciate it. I seriously thought I was going to be talking to like 6 people. You said go after the wealthy so they don't have to hassle with price negotiation. I said, bullcrap. But then you said that rich people are more mindful of the money they spend and cheap out, which is true. I got to get to it, but great video and content. We'll be tuning into the pocket. Thank you, Austin. I appreciate that. And I fully agree with you agreeing with me because I agree with myself. That's kind of conceited, isn't it? All right, guys, I have a meeting that I got to get to. We have to... Man... It's going to be a great day already. I really appreciate you. Cote, thanks for tuning in. Nick, you're going to expect a PM right after this. And Daniel, top of the morning to you, man. I hope all is well in your world. I meant to reach out to you a couple of days ago. I saw, things weren't going well for you. I'm going to send you a text. Make sure you're doing okay, buddy. Hope everything's well in your guys' world. If this content brought you guys value, pay the fee, share the video, share the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Love you.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of the Optimum Synergy Podcast. We look forward to seeing you next week. Hope you enjoyed the ride.